business owner? Entrepreneur? Want to learn how online marketing can improve your business?
Your questions.
Our advice.
This is Not a Real Job.
Welcome to episode 99 of Not a Real Job, the comedy podcast that helps you turn the things you love into things that make you money. I am Chris Van Patten, and I do all kinds of things. Apparently sleep today in New York.
And I'm Joel Kelly, and I am a professional blah.
I think that should give the listeners a sense of where we're at today.
I've got a Google search results page open here, Chris, that I apparently just searched for the word symptoms.
And you're hoping that Google can figure out what those symptoms are.
Yeah, what's wrong with me? Maybe it should you started looking for information about an illness and then forgot what illness you had. So it should be able to kind of piece together where I'm at.
Sure. Google knows everything.
Google does know everything.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm sleepy too. I've been sleeping all day as well. I had a lot of work I needed to get done today. Like a lot of work. And I got some done, but mostly what I did was sleep and just feel shitty. Sure.
Well, you've still got time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be my Sunday evening, certainly. But as I'm sure you understand, you kind of like to get stuff done early so that you have the rest of your evening.
Well, sure. But unlike you, if I don't get things done, then they don't get done.
Right.
I'm okay with that.
Right.
I've come to that delicate understanding with my life that I don't care.
Yeah. How's that working out?
So far, so good.
Excellent.
No complaints.
Oh, happy to hear it.
So you're sick. Or you think you're sick?
I'm not sick. I think I have what celebrities have, which is exhaustion.
Okay.
I think that's what I have. It's just I haven't had much sleep in about 2 months. Just with my work schedule, travel, and a few other things that have been going on. You know, we have obviously like the side project that you and I are working on, which I have gotten barely anything done, plus a number of other personal projects, plus I'm buying a house or bought a house and we move in a month. Like, being on the road constantly plus everything else has made it so I really just haven't had any sleep or opportunities to even relax at all, which, I mean, sounds like a complaint. It's obviously not. I love traveling, but today I've just had this thing where if I'm not in bed with my eyes closed, if I'm in bed and I close my eyes, I feel great. Just a little sleepy. Mm-hmm. If I get out of bed and do literally anything, I want to just collapse and or be sick. Mm-hmm. So I think my body's telling me that I should be in bed.
I think that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Are you recording this episode from bed?
No, so it's probably not going to be a great one.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think the people are used to that at this point.
Well, the people have left. We skipped last week's episode. I think that was like the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah. What are you drinking?
You. I'm drinking water.
Nice.
What are you drinking?
I should probably be drinking water because I think I'm really dehydrated as well. But I'm drinking a whiskey sour instead.
So you have no one to blame but yourself, Joel.
I'm not blaming
anyone.
Is what
it sounds like.
I'm not even blaming myself.
It's a no blame.
There's no
situation.
blame. Absolutely no blame. I mean, if anyone, I would say probably one of the lesser gods.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who don't have a lot of power.
Sure, but just enough to meddle.
Yeah, certainly not one of the old gods.
So one of the new
ones, not your Cthulhu's, not your Yahweh's, not any of those. We're talking, one that maybe someone made up in the last 100 years.
Sure. Well, then I pray to the old gods and the new that you feel better soon.
Thanks. I really appreciate that.
Because you owe me a content marketing plan.
I sure as heck do.
Yeah,
I do.
Get it together, Joel.
Come on. Trying, and I really, if it helps, Chris, I feel really bad about it. I want you to know I do feel not like, in addition to my physical ailments, I have a lot of emotional stress as well.
Sure, a lot of guilt.
A lot of guilt.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I think we all know what that's like.
Do we?
Do we really?
So you were in Houston recently. How was that?
It was lovely. I went down. I spoke at a WordPress event, as I am wont to do, and it went really well. I gave a little talk about the history and some content marketing strategies. So it's pretty good.
What was the audience like?
A wide-ranging group of agency type people, developers, some designers, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so this wasn't a blank camp or something, not a pod camp, not a word.
No. This was a specific a WordPress meetup.
Okay, so did you have, as we've talked about on the show before, the 50-year-old white guy who asked the same question to every presenter all day?
No, I was the only presenter. So I guess technically, yes.
Oh,
So there was a 50-year-old white guy who asked the question to the presenters because they were all me.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What was the question?
I don't remember. It's a long time ago.
Are your slides going to be online?
My slides are online.
Good.
Over at chrisvanpatten.com.
You got a website now. That's exciting.
Yeah, I decided to get into the game after I saw the success of your own personal brand.
Oh man, my website's blowing up. My analytics are like crazy, out of this world crazy. All spam, but that's a big problem these days. Are you noticing that?
I don't look at the numbers a lot, Joel.
Oh, Google Analytics.
You don't need to tell me the odds.
Okay, right. Yes.
Did I butcher that?
No. I mean, yes, but I still got the Han Solo reference.
Okay.
He says never tell me the odds.
Okay.
But
never tell me the refer spam.
Yeah. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. It's a big
I saw recently
problem.
a service that it requires them to have access to your Google account. So you have to like sign in with your Google OAuth or whatever it is. And they will set up filters automatically for your Google Analytics to filter out refer spam. I don't know if that works, but I know it's a thing that exists.
Yeah, what I've been doing instead is one of the guys on my team that's, analytics expert. He's just been helping me because he's a nice guy. So he's been going in and adding a bunch of filters, but it's like one of those things, every time you add a new filter, just there's something else.
10 pop up.
Yeah. It's I believe they call that Medusa.
Yes.
So
Hydra Analytics.
Yeah, how did you find Texas in general? Had you been to Texas before?
No, I've been through Texas before. I had been to Dallas, Fort Worth, the Bush Airport in Houston, and whatever it is in Austin, transiting through to other places.
Right.
So this was the first time that I got off a plane in Houston and got out of the airport.
Okay, so
in Texas.
You pronounced it Houston.
Yes.
Interesting.
It's different.
My understanding was that it's Houston.
That's the one in New York. Yes. Texas was nice though. The weather was disgustingly hot, disgustingly muggy, pretty much as terrible as you could imagine. But it was a really great place to go visit. A lot of great food and drink. Austin was a ton of fun. It is, what the hype says it is. Yeah, I had a good time, but I'm definitely happy to be back in New York. This is going to be my longest stretch for a little while without travel, and I'm looking forward to just kind of hunkering down and enjoying the summer here.
I think I'm in my longest stretch without travel as well.
Awesome.
My next
good
trip
for both of us.
My next trip is Thursday.
Nice.
Yep. So I got today. I got in late last night, so I got today, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I got 4 days at home.
Now, is this just a busy season for travel? Like, is the summer just busy, and things will quiet down come October, November? Or is that just wishful thinking?
No, it's a busy season for travel. There's several coincidences, kind of had a bunch of things happen all at once. Just a few clients, launching new big projects at the same time. And those kind of, ended up happening right around our regularly scheduled trips. Like we always go to Hilton Head around the same time. There's always the same like partners retreat in the Bahamas. So then just a few other things. We did a pitch in Miami. So that was kind of unexpected in that, it's not part of the typical plan. And then I was just in the Dominican Republic for the last three or 4 days. And that again was, that's a new client that we were just going down to visit. So not part of the usual travel plan. So it all just kind of hit at the same time. So it's been me and my boss, Chip, usually traveling together. But on the last trip, he didn't go. So I was there. So we've kind of been like dividing up all the big trips and going. He's off to Denver tomorrow, and then we're both going to be in Vegas on Thursday.
High rolling life.
It's busy. It's definitely hot. I've definitely been in very hot places too.
I know you don't do well in hot places.
I get by
with a little help from someone.
Johnny Walker Red. Is that the rest of that line from the Elliott Smith song?
I believe so.
I make it through the day. A little help from Johnny. Just make sure. I'll fake it through the day with some help from Johnny Walker Red for Miss Misery.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
I think that version's probably more accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. There was stuff I really wanted to talk about. What did I text you? I was like, let's talk about this on the show. We do have to talk about the fact that it's episode 99.
It is.
Is that
we still don't have a
something?
game plan for episode 100.
I'm thinking we're gonna skip it. Let's go straight to 101.
I think that's probably for the best.
I
don't think you texted me about anything.
I mean, this is like weeks ago. We talked about pickup artists. We need to do that. Content strategy. You're changing your name to Vin Diesel. Sorry, I'm going through all our text messages.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a text here where I reminded you to pronounce it Houston. I've got a lot of texts here where I'm sending you pickup artist stuff because I find that funny.
I think you mean pickup artistry.
The pickup artistry, yep. I feel like just for some context for the readers, obviously I'm not going to get into the whole story, but I find it amusing to look up horrible, disgusting pickup artist advice and text it to Chris because he, like me, is totally grossed out by those people and what they try to do. So what I do is just bother him with it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate.
So I found the text.
Okay.
This is from June 26th.
That was a long time ago.
At 3:11 p.m.
Okay.
Talking about the virtual assistant that we're using.
Oh.
Yeah. We were going to talk about how things are going with her and how we've been able to kind of like, we've obviously talked about outsourcing and virtual assistants in the past, but I've got some new kind of like case studies of how she's been helping me out. So I thought maybe we could give some advice vis-a-vis that. But what I was thinking is before I jump in and kind of talk about what I've been using our virtual assistant for, can you give a quick recap again? Maybe I'll find the original episode where we talked about this, but how did you find this virtual assistant?
Elance. I'm all about Elance for hiring. I think it's got the best combination of people and price, or qualified people rather. And actually, I'm kind of sad because I just got the email recently that Elance is going to be shutting down soon. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But needless to say, Elance was the platform of choice, and it worked out really well.
So again, the episode where we get into the details is definitely one of the ones where we had a paywall, so no one heard it. How do you write an application for a virtual assistant?
I don't know how you write an application.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I do, but I had to be difficult.
Yeah.
Um, so for me, for writing a good job listing for a virtual assistant, like obviously, I think it's important to be as specific as you can, especially because we're both remote. We don't work in person with our virtual assistant. So I think being specific about the types of tools and technologies that you expect them to use is pretty important. I definitely like to have them explain, situations where, they had to do something creative. That's a big part of it. And I've, sort of asked them to include that in their cover letters and that kind of thing. I pay less attention to resumes, although I get them a lot. They just strike me as generally pretty useless. And then ultimately, there's also what I call the canary question, which is basically an attempt to see if the person is actually reading the description. So, often I'll ask something like, what's the best place you've ever traveled to, or what's your favorite book, or what's a movie you watched recently. And that's obviously, their answer to that isn't going to factor into whether the specifics of their answer doesn't matter, but just the fact that they saw it and acknowledged the question, that sort of gives me an indicator that they're being thorough and that they're taking the time to read it. Because something that's common on sites like Elance and Odesk, which is now Upwork, is that these the people out there will go and they'll search for certain key terms in your job listings. They'll get a list of 20 or 30 of these listings, and then they'll copy and paste their cover letter into all of them. Generally, for this type of assistant work that we're looking for, we want someone who's maybe a little more experienced, or certainly, someone who is going to take our listing seriously. And so that canary question is a really great indicator of that. Now, it's not a hard and fast science because I have hired people who haven't answered the canary question, and they've been great. So you just sort of have to go with your gut, but it's not the, be all end all, but it's a good indicator to have.
Great. That's very cool. So,
He said patronizingly.
Oh no,
I'm kidding.
I'm not getting humor today. I'm just thinking about going back to bed. So one of the things then that I texted Chris about how good our virtual assistant and again, I keep saying I know Chris probably has like hundreds, dozens of assistants that do all his work for him, but
I haven't worked in 3 years.
Yeah, there's one virtual assistant that we both use. So what she's been doing for me that's made my life extremely, extremely easier, or even just manageable at all, is because of all the travel I'm doing. I'm often, especially with some of the locations I've been going to, like the Dominican or like the Bahamas, a lot of the flights to these places don't have Wi-Fi on them, which I've definitely gotten used to having Wi-Fi access because we fly US Air, almost in American, almost all of their flights have Wi-Fi. So when I'm unable to kind of do some of the research and reading that I need to do on these flights, what my assistant's been doing is I'll give her a client name or a list of resorts to research, and she'll go ahead and go on TripAdvisor, go on a few review sites and pull together things like, what are the top 5 good things that people say about this resort? What are the top 5 negative things that people say about the resort? What are those same questions, but for their whole competitive set, or, digging into the history of a resort or of a destination so that I can kind of have some more context. So basically one of the big projects I have her working on is research packets. So any new client I have, I'm able to get a really quick, sense of context for them. And that's work that I typically just don't have time to do. And it's the kind of thing that I could be reading. She'll send me the Word docs. And then I can just read those offline on the plane, on my ride to visit a client or on a trip, back home. And it's been extremely effective. As well as we've had a ton of flight issues over the last few weeks, missing flights. We did a pitch meeting a couple weeks ago, and it went really, really well. But because it was going so well, it went really long, so we missed our flight. That was right after that, so I used Fancy Hands. In that case, Fancy Hands has a text service now, so you get much faster responses. So that was a thing. Like, we're on our way to the airport. I'm pretty sure we're going to miss the flight. So by the time, not long after we arrive at the airport, Fancy Hands has pulled a bunch of other flight options for me. So we can kind of just head to the right airline and just go purchase tickets, things like that. So I've been finding outsourcing and virtual assistant work is, if you travel a lot, it's extremely useful. If you have like your own executive assistant, then you're probably fine, don't need this, but I don't. So so having a virtual assistant or assistants has been extremely valuable for me. It obviously doesn't replace the quote unquote real work, which I don't want to suggest the work that the assistant's doing are fake, but it's, the stuff that only I can do. But the stuff that, anyone could do, or anyone who's intelligent and hardworking can do, then outsourcing it is extremely valuable. So I recommend it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I don't really have anything to add to that. I think we've talked on the show a lot about our outsourcing endeavors. I think the only thing I would say, like, to add to that, I guess, which you kind of already alluded at, like, we're not outsourcing necessarily to be lazy. I think that's a hard thing for many people to get over. Like, outsourcing is available to everyone. And I think a big reason that it's not used more widely is because of this feeling like if I have somebody else do my work, then I'm being lazy. I don't think that's it at all. I think we're trying to be more productive and trying to accomplish more. Now, whether we succeed at that or not, that's a different story. But I think the goal isn't just to get rid of work or to, so we can spend our Sunday sleeping. That's not what it's all about. I mean, clearly, we're both outsourcing, and, Joel's just told us earlier about how much work he's got to do today. So it's not really giving away our work. It's just finding ways to do more work and be more productive and have all these side projects and all these, endeavors, and still be able to succeed in, the day jobs and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't replace a good deal of the work, and it certainly doesn't mean you're lazy. It really just means that, you're able to take on even more of the work that you love to do. I guess, that's the big thing. You're able to take on more because a lot of the details, the stuff that takes time. I mean, there's so much, in a day-to-day work that isn't the work, that it's obstacles, that it's, it's things that require a lot of time to do. But at the end of it, you don't feel like you've gotten all that much done. So that's the kind of thing that's really good to outsource.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Great. Well, I think what we should do now is move on to everyone's favorite section of the show.
Yes. So this is the part of the show where we give you recommendations of things to buy.
Yeah.
So we go on Amazon and we buy things a lot. And what we do here is we tell you what we like, and then we put links on our website at notarealjob.com in the show notes, and at notarealjob.com/gear, which is an archive of all of our recommendations. And if you buy through one of those links, we get a tiny percentage of that, and that helps us, make the show a little bit better. So what are you going to recommend this week, Joel?
I am going to recommend a book called A Beautiful Constraint: How to Transform Your Limitations into Advantages and Why It's Everyone's Business by Adam Morgan. So Adam Morgan is responsible for one of my favorite quotes about advertising. Actually, it's my favorite quote about advertising, where he said that advertising is a zero-sum game. It's like a knife fight in a phone box. So for, as Dave Trott then put a spin on it, for someone to win, it means someone has to lose. So Adam Morgan wrote this great book called The Beautiful Constraint, which is about using, challenges and using, the reasons why you can't do something to turn that into an advantage. Kind of the marketing spin on the obstacle is the way. The idea that, what stands in the way becomes the way. What challenges you becomes an opportunity. So all of that with a very significant focus solely on advertising and positioning. And Adam Morgan is definitely the one to to write about that. He has an amazing resume of marketing and advertising, writing, and production. So yeah, Adam Morgan and Mark Barden, A Beautiful Constraint.
Awesome. I am going to put in the Wall travel trimmer. It's cordless and battery operated. This is basically a little electric razor for trimming a beard, a mustache, sideburns, whatever you like. I really like it because it's very compact. It's and it uses only one AA battery, so it's very easy to find those. It comes with a couple of extensions for the blade if you want different trim lengths. And the best part is that it's super cheap. It's $12. So, if you lose it while you're traveling or if it gets confiscated or whatever, whatever might happen, it's really easy to just pick up another one. So I highly recommend that if you have hair that needs trimming.
All right. Oh, man, that's funny.
All right. Well, there are tons of ways to find us all around the internet. Joel and I are both on Twitter at Joel Kelly, at Chris Van Patten. Those links are also over at notarealjob.com, which is our website. You should check it out. We've got links to our show's Twitter as well at NargCast. We're on Facebook /notarealjob. We are on iTunes and Stitcher. So notarealjob.com /iTunes and /Stitcher are both going to redirect to the appropriate places for you. And joelkelly.ca, chrisvanpatten.com, of course, buy Joel's book, buy my book. That's a joke. I don't have one. And of course, you can bother us with any questions, comments, feedback over at notarealjob.com /questions and notarealjob.com /contact.
Yep.
I think I got it.
That's it. I got nothing else.
Awesome.
All right. Well, have a good sleep.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. And everyone out there, you know what? Go to bed. You've had a rough day. You deserve it.
You've earned it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Talk to you next week.
Bye, everyone. I love you all. Sweet dreams.